Putin just made Trump an offer that has Pentagon generals in full panic mode, and the reason isn't Ukraine. Look, I was having coffee with a former State Department buddy yesterday morning. He goes, "You see what Moscow just leaked?" I hadn't. Turns out Putin's offering something nobody expected, a complete restructuring of the global energy market with Trump as his partner. Here's what's insane. They're talking about creating a new energy alliance. Russia, America, and Saudi Arabia, controlling 65% of global oil. OPEC would be dead overnight. Think about that for a second. The two men who supposedly hate each other, planning to corner the entire energy market, either this is the deal of the century, or we're watching the biggest con in history unfold. If this analysis helps you understand what's really happening, hit subscribe. Tomorrow we're breaking down China's response to this, and comment below. You think Trump takes this deal? I genuinely want to know what you're thinking. 4 years ago, remember that Helsinki summit? Media called it a disaster. Trump got roasted for being too soft on Putin. But here's what they didn't tell you. My source at Langley, let's call him Mike, says that meeting planted seeds for today. They discussed something off record, he told me. Something about post-Ukraine arrangements. Fast forward to now, Trump's back, Putin's desperate. His economy's hanging by a thread, the ruble's worth less than monopoly money, and China's slowly abandoning him. He needs this deal more than Trump does. But Trump, he's got his own problems. Inflation's still biting, voters want cheap gas, and the strategic petroleum reserve is basically empty. We sold it all to keep prices down before the midterms. The timing isn't coincidental, both men need a win, and they might just be crazy enough to work together to get it. The establishment's freaking out because they know these two don't play by the rules. So what exactly is Putin proposing? Buckle up, because this is wild. First, Russia keeps Crimea, but withdraws from everywhere else in Ukraine. That's the headline grabber. But the real meat? A new energy security treaty between Russia and America. We'd coordinate oil production, set floor prices at $80 per barrel, and essentially freeze out China from preferred rates. I ran the numbers last night. If this works, American oil companies would see profits jump 40%. Your 401k would love it, but gas prices? They'd stabilize around $3.50 per gallon. Not great, not terrible. The kicker, and this is where Pentagon's sweating, Putin wants joint military exercises in the Arctic. Yeah, you heard that right. Russian and American troops training together where all that untapped oil sits. One defense contractor I know just texted me, "We're either witnessing genius or madness, maybe both." Wall Street's already moving. Energy stocks jumped 5% on rumors alone. Someone knows something. The military brass isn't panicking about Russia, they're panicking about NATO. Think about it. If Trump shakes hands with Putin, what happens to our European allies? Germany's already buying Russian gas under the table, yeah, through Turkish intermediaries, but still. France is making noises about European strategic autonomy. A colonel at the Pentagon told me straight up, this could break NATO, and maybe that's the point. See, Trump's always believed NATO's a bad deal for America. We spend $800 billion on defense while Europe spends peanuts. Putin knows this. He's betting Trump will choose profits over principles. But here's the twist. China. Beijing's watching this like a hawk. If Russia pivots to America, China loses its biggest energy supplier. That's why Xi Jinping called an emergency Politburo meeting last Tuesday. My contacts in Hong Kong say they're preparing economic retaliation. The dominoes are already falling, folks, and we're just getting started. Zelensky's in an impossible position. His biggest supporter might sell him out for cheap oil. Yesterday, Ukrainian intelligence leaked something interesting. They claim Putin's already moving tactical nukes out of Belarus. If true, that's a peace gesture, but it's also leverage. Trump's team, and I know this from someone who was in the room, is considering a Korea solution. Freeze the conflict, create a DMZ, and basically partition Ukraine. Not officially, but practically. The economics make sense, honestly. We've spent $200 billion on Ukraine. For what? To weaken Russia? Well, mission accomplished. Their military is decimated, their economy's crushed. Maybe Trump figures it's time to cash out. But here's what worries me. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. Remember Chamberlain's piece in our time? Sometimes deals with dictators don't end well. Still, Trump's a deal maker, and this might be his biggest deal ever. Question is, at what cost? Let me tell you where the real action is, the currency markets. 3 weeks ago, Russia started buying gold like crazy. Not rubles to gold, dollars to gold. They're preparing for something big. Meanwhile, Trump's been oddly quiet about defending the dollar lately. What if, and this is speculation, but educated speculation, they're planning a new reserve currency backed by oil and gold? It sounds insane, but Saudi's been making similar noises. JP Morgan's Forex desk is going nuts. They're seeing weird movements, big players shifting out of euros into, wait for it, yuan and rupees. It's like everyone's hedging against Western currencies. My theory, this Trump-Putin summit isn't just about Ukraine or oil, it's about redesigning the entire global financial system. Bretton Woods is dead. What comes next? If I'm right, your dollars might be worth a lot less next year, but if you own oil stocks, gold, or Bitcoin, you might get very rich very fast. Beijing's response will determine if this deal flies or dies. See, China needs Russian energy desperately. Their economy runs on it, but more importantly, they need Russia as a military ally. Together, they can challenge American hegemony. Apart? Not so much. Last night, Chinese state media published something cryptic. Some friends sell their friendship cheaply. That's not subtle. They're warning Putin, but here's what she doesn't get. Putin's not ideological. He's transactional. And right now, Trump's offering a better transaction. I spoke to a semiconductor executive who does business in both countries. He said, China's preparing for economic war. They're stockpiling everything, chips, food, energy. The South China Sea could explode if this deal happens. Taiwan's already increasing defense spending. Japan's considering nuclear weapons again. We might solve one conflict only to trigger 3 others. That's the real risk here. So will this insane deal actually happen? My gut says maybe, 60-40 odds. Trump loves the dramatic gesture, the deal everyone said was impossible. Putin's desperate enough to try anything. And frankly, the world's tired of this conflict. But watch for 3 signals. First, if Elon Musk visits Moscow, he's Trump's unofficial envoy. Second, if Saudi suddenly increases oil production, they're preparing for the new arrangement. Third, if NATO announces emergency consultations, they know it's happening. The next 72 hours are crucial. Trump and Putin supposedly talk Tuesday. By Friday, we'll know if the world just changed forever. One last thought. My grandfather used to say, when elephants dance, the grass gets trampled. We're the grass here, folks. Whether this deal happens or not, regular Americans will pay the price. Question is that price worth it? Comment below. Let's argue about this.